Hello, this is Purge bringing you guys a replay coaching session. Thanks for everybody that submitted, but I picked one out. Sorry for those that did not get accepted. I'm going to be looking at a 4.1k MMR Faceless Void game, and I'm guessing it's going to be an Offlane Void. So I haven't made a video of this yet, but I think it'll be interesting to talk about the hero. Now, the way the hero is currently being played, if you guys are curious, in the pro scene is you play in the offlane with Faceless Void. You max out his first skill, which gives his time walk cooldown down to 6-second cooldown, which gives you a heal. And then they max out the time dilation ability, the second one, because it disables opponents very well and for a lot of duration. And then finally they'll max out Bash. And the Void's goal is basically just to never die, which is, it's very difficult to die unless your opponents have a lot of stuns. You never die, and then you Chronosphere, and you kind of just win fights due to Chronosphere. And after your Vlad's, you go like Treads, Poor Man's Shield, Iron Talon, then you get Vlad's, and then afterwards you build either Blink Dagger, usually a Blink Dagger there, and then afterwards you get an Aghanim Scepter. And once you have the Ags, your Chronosphere goes down to a 60-second cooldown, and it becomes very, very difficult for your opponents to kill you. And you can basically team fight very often, and you can disable very often. So your damage is not amazing, but your ability to disable your opponents is amazing. And that's where the Valiant Void is right now. So he's getting pretty popular. If I check overall stats, I'll see what his overall win rate is right now. Let's go to Heroes, Hero Stats. Faceless Void is surprisingly not in the top 25 right now. I'm a bit surprised about this. In NA, he's very popular, but apparently in the rest of the world, he is not there. He's sitting at about 50% win rate, apparently. I didn't know that. I'm surprised, though. I think he's fairly good at staying alive here. So I'm going to be watching Skim here.
Prepare for battle.
Starting items. It does grab Time Walk level 1. Totally standard, salve, and Ring of Protection. I think this is fine. For an offlane build, this is great. Lots of regen, lots of armor, stout shield. Should cover him in terms of surviving the offlane. Very low chance of him getting the bounty rune, totally normal stuff. Block the creep wave. Messed up the block, that's fairly significant. Because it's going to be a little harder for him to get last hits and experience now. If he would have blocked well, then his creep wave would have been about here on the screen. And now it's a Gyro and a Tusk. I would actually trade hits with this guy very heavily because he probably has less survivability than the Tusk has. He is carrying basically nothing but an Orb of Venom. So this is basically what the Time Walk does. Any damage you take in the last 2 seconds, it stops. So with all this trading that the Faceless Void did here, the Tusk lost a lot more HP than Void did. It was basically 1 Tango, and he had to use Time Walk, which is 40 mana. Not bad. I would actually, if I was him, I would have traded hits a couple more times there, because the Tango had a couple more seconds of regen. And to be honest, he's actually out of experience range right now. He should still be trading with the Tusk. On the bright side, the Creep Wave is pushing, so that's going to guarantee that he gets levels here. I would actually consider getting a level of Bash here, since I'm in a 1v1, since he's in a 1v1 matchup against a single support that's not that good at zoning him. But with Dazzle Shrine, maybe it is better for him to go for his other skills. As of yet, his last hitting has been okay here for Under Tower. I think. Does still have to worry about things like Orb of Venom a little bit, but I don't think this should be a huge issue. Get Time Walk for your level 3 skill, totally standard here. Unfortunately, they didn't get experience for that range creep, but it's not the end of the world. And his first item should probably be the Iron Talon, I think. Maybe you get boots first. I also think his TP pickup here was a mistake. The only benefit that buying a teleport scroll gives you is that you can basically teleport back to base if you're afraid of dying. He bought it instantly upon going to lane, and I think that's a mistake. I mean, TPs aren't expensive right now, but they're only 75 gold. But that's gold that is going to put you towards an Iron Talon or towards a Boots of Speed, an item that would actually give you something. Yeah, if the Tusk snowballs him and he's getting Rocket Barrage, he can just TP home. Like, that's a good point. But I think buying it instantly as soon as you start the lane is a big mistake, because the first items that you buy in an offlane scenario are often very crucial. It changes whether or not you're going to be able to outlane your opponent or whether you get outlaned. Like, for example, if he could have bought, I mean, he doesn't have the money right now, but if he didn't buy the TP scroll, he could have bought something like an Orb of Venom, and then he has Orb of Venom advantage over his opponent's Tusk, and then Tusk doesn't have a Stout Shield, doesn't have a Ring of Protection, and now Faceless Void would trade way better against the Tusk rather than just moderately better. And then when you have that kind of trade advantage, you whittle his regen down, and then that allows you to stay in lane, getting more experience, more last hits, and pressuring your opponent more. So the first couple of purchases that you make are really important. A TP scroll is going to save him in case he gets ganked, but I'm not sure he needs to worry about that much. Yeah, there is the Dazzle tri-lane, but the Dazzle's been kind of in and out of the lane, and he's got a lot of levels already. I'm not too worried for him for dying. If he gets Ice Sharded, he just jumps over with the Time Walk. If he gets... I don't know, I just don't see him dying to this tri-lane. The best way to beat Faceless Void is by stuns, so this TP pickup is going to hurt him just a little bit. It may not change the game in any significant way, but not having the TP is worth it. Also, he needs to adjust his camera up a little bit to see when creeps are about to get last hit, and he needed to be hitting this this Tusk more often. He's too afraid to trade hits. If you have 2 sets of regen and you have more survivability than your opponent, then you always trade hits, if you're not worried about dying. That's what you gotta do. It's very important that you do that. It's the only thing that the Faceless Void here hasn't been doing very well. So he's preparing for a side pull, which is good. He's gonna be a little early. I want to be in the tango just then because he might have messed up when to pull it. But the time you pull it is when the creeps are at your tier 1 tower right here. So about now. So he's got that down, no problem. This is gonna allow the creep wave to go to the right side. The creep wave is not going to kill the satyrs, and the satyrs is, or the creep wave will kill the satyrs, I think, and the satyrs are unlikely to kill the creep wave. But the important thing is that it allows him to get experience, because now his creep wave, or basically the enemy creep wave, will walk past, and he can now last hit this under tower. So this actually accelerates the farm of the supports by a little bit, but it guarantees him experience. So in most cases, this is a good trade if you're playing an offlane hero. If he gets all 4 of these last hits, it guarantees him 200 gold and a bit more experience. Now he went for a second time dilation here. I think a lot of pro players are doing this, going for 2 time dilations by 4. But to be honest, at this sort of a level, I think getting at least 1 point in time lock is important. And in a lot of cases, you shouldn't entirely emulate exactly what pros are doing, because the things pros do, they do in an anticipation of playing against pros. So sometimes when you're playing against pub players, Shadowblade is the better choice over Black King Bar. And you need to be able to vet that out as a Dota player to understand when's the right time to do stuff. So the reason that I am advocating for getting 1 point in Bash here, and why he probably could have even gotten it earlier, like at level 2, is because if he would have been trading with this Tusk more, he would have traded tons of regen away from the Tusk, and that would have given him an advantage. I'm going to have to press a play here to go free camera and just show this. He also time walked a little bit too early. Oops, I forgot to change the setting. That's fine. He also forgot to attack. He should have attacked the Tusk like once maybe before he time walked, because he could have gotten a little bit more advantage out of the Tusk, forcing him in. Like right now, Tusk basically has 3 tangos. He's got an Orb of Venom. He's got 75, which is basically another tango, and he's got a Magic Stick. Whereas Faceless Void has all of this extra survivability. He's got a whole, Tusk has extra 2 armor by the Ring of Aquila. But in the early laning stage, the Void was sitting like 3 armor over Tusk, which means that he takes like 18% less damage, or he has 18% more physical estimated hit points. I don't know how much extra HP that gives you, but it's probably around 18%. But it could be as low as like 15 or as high as 20 or something. I'd have to do the math to double check my numbers. But he should have been trading more with the Tusk. That's something you have to do as an offlane hero. You have to understand when you're stronger than them, when your hits are doing more damage to them than theirs are to you, which means that you're getting an advantageous trade. And that's where Faceless Void wins, because not only does he have decent armor, and you can buy all these regen items, but if you take too much damage in 2 seconds, you time walk and you remove it. You're trading HP for 40 mana, which is an amazing trade. If anything, that may be the nerf that Faceless Void possibly will need. I still think it should probably be more along the lines of Chronosphere or something. But he should have been trading heavily against him. He wouldn't have had this TP scroll. He would have gotten a faster boots. He would have chased down the Tusk. The Tusk would have ran out of regen first. And then when Tusk is out of regen and sitting at 70% HP, then the Faceless Void basically takes over the lane and starts contesting Gyrocopter's last hits. Instead, he's basically playing an off lane as if he's constantly worried about 3 heroes ganking him. But when it's a Dazzle, Tusk, and a Gyrocopter, there's almost no way that you die. The only way you die is if you accidentally use Time Walk to escape the Tusk or a bad situation, and then jump into the arms of the Gyrocopter. The only time he should be escaping is if it's like a creep wave plus Tusk and a hero. That's the only another hero. It doesn't necessarily have to be Gyrocopter. It could be like Dazzle. So he should have pressured this Tusk a lot more, and he should already have more advantage. This Tusk should be missing at least 1 or 2 more tangos here. and Faceless Void probably wouldn't even be down. He'd probably be at the same tangos here. Again, he did use one over here. So sometimes playing the offlane just to pressure and trade with the support is something that's really, really important to do. Otherwise, you're sitting there passively, they're winning their lane, and you're getting experience, but you could be stomping your lane. There's always the possibility at anywhere below 5k MMR or even above 5k MMR that you just completely outplay the safe lane and you win the game for your whole team by outplaying the support, snowballing kills there, and then eventually killing the carry. If you do that as an off lane and your team goes even everywhere else, you pretty much just win the game in most cases. It gives you a massive advantage that most teams don't normally have, or most players don't normally have. So with that said, let's hop back in and resume the game. They're going on him. I'm not worried at all. He did actually use Time Walk a moment before, and that's why they did use the Snowball. Not too surprising. Again, he used Time Walk, which cost him mana. He should be last hitting right now. I have no idea why he's sitting so far back. Looks like he's alt-tabbed or something.
Missing bottom.
Yeah, looks like he just alt-tabbed, but he should be playing aggressive here. If there's creep waves next to him, he can tank the Gyrocopter, for example. I think that Time Walk is fine. The mana pool of the Tusk is probably getting pretty low. Yeah, he's down to about 100, so he's spending a lot of mana just to do damage to the Faceless Void here. The positioning of the Void is getting a little bit weak. He should just be standing next to the creeps anticipating last hits. I think he's worried about getting harassed by like the gyro and stuff like that. See, that was good. Force the Rocket Barrage out, standing near creep, so probably wasn't going to hit him anyways. Okay, this is where the build completely goes wrong. Maxing time dilation is a huge mistake. You need to get the Time Walk cooldown as low as possible, as fast as possible. This build is not acceptable. The only advantage this gives you is more time and lower cooldown. And in the laning stage, this ability is not amazing. It's a very, very good teamfight ability. Dude, look at the radius. It's ridiculously huge. It basically applies like a 30% movement and attack speed slow for like 12 seconds on the whole team, more or less, during a team fight. It's very, very good against heroes like Gyro as well. But you have to max out Time Walk first. That's one of the advantages that Faceless Void gets, is by being annoying in lane and never dying.
Missing bottom.
Right now is a great time to hit the Gyro. This is perfect. I think he jumped a little bit too early. I would have taken one more right click before I Time Walked there. Getting extra value out of your Time Walk is how you win your lane. Your advantage for Faceless Void now, most heroes get advantage by casting spells efficiently on their opponent. Faceless Void gets advantage by right-clicking opponents and then time walking to counteract the damage that they do. This is kind of dangerous for him here. Alright, good skill usage there. I thought that was completely fine. Maybe he didn't need to use time dilation. He's getting a bit low on mana here, but his farm really should be a bit bigger. On the bright side, he is already level 6, so he's getting a lot out of his lane. I think he's pulling the creep wave past here. This would be a good time to trade. Yeah, I would just jump. A little bit of a misclick there in the fact that I think he might just die here. Okay. Biggest mistake that was made there, we'll break it down a little bit. Okay, as soon as he saw the snowball, I was like, okay, this is dangerous. So you time walk. So he time walked, and that's good, but the problem was that he right-clicked backwards or something afterwards, and because of that, he would be standing here right now instead of at this point. So if we slow this down a little bit and we press play, by the time the snowball actually comes in, also it may have been better just to eat the snowball and then jump, because now he's just gotten distance between himself and his opponents. If he waited to get stunned and he got stunned here, he could have just waited for the damage to actually come and then jump. So he basically used Time Walk as a way to get movement, but he could use it as a way to stop damage and to get movement. In two ways there. So dying in that case just shouldn't happen. You basically just shouldn't ever die when you're playing Faceless Void in the offlane. Just shouldn't happen. It's not okay. He also should have had his Iron Talon there. Probably should have queued it up, and he should have purchased that before he died. Again, he's going to get level 6 very fast, but he still should be getting more out of his lane. All he's basically accomplished in this lane is getting experience. He has gotten very, very little last hits. He's gotten very little farm, and he's also given them a kill. So he's already kind of behind as a carry. There's the Iron Talon recipe purchased. I like that he's pressuring the wave a little bit here, and he pressured the gyro a little bit. That's all good. This would be a really good time to communicate with his team and say, somebody come gank. If somebody comes top, then they can kill Gyro or any other hero, basically. Except for maybe... Well, I guess if Dazzle can Grave, it's a little bit tough. Looks like he maybe is just going Treads, I'm guessing. Coiling Blade used here, he's going to do a side pull, which is all good. Iron Talon's coming out. He's also gone for a Bash level 7. This is, again, just the wrong skill build. You need Time Walk to be on a super low cooldown. It's because sometimes you need to initiate and then use it right afterwards to heal. You absolutely max this ability first. Time Dilation has done almost nothing to keep him alive in this lane. And it does almost nothing in the mid game to keep him alive. The best build is by far the 4-1-1 build or the 4-2-0 build for the early game. Again, I would have gotten 1 level of Time Lock when I was trading heavily with the Tusk. But a lot of pro players will probably go 4-2-0 just because the extra time dilation level is more useful for the extra duration. So he's got Chronosphere ready. Another thing that you can do if you do get your ultimate and nobody comes to your lane, you can always just go to a different lane and go get a kill. Look around the map, say like, okay, how low is everybody? What's the status like? If I have an Ember versus a TA and a Chronosphere, the TA and the Ember can attack him on the edge, then I can get a kill there. So that's something else that you should be looking for. Like right now, they're alright. I think this is a little bit premature here. So let's press play and we'll look to see exactly when he looks bottom and then TPs. This is another really important thing. He hears the TPs. Sees them going, he clicks. Boom. So when he starts the TP, alright, so sorry, I'm gonna turn the audio down. Okay, I'll do that later. I'm just gonna turn that off for a second because I want to talk about this for a bit and I don't want it to be constantly making noise. So let's talk for a second about what information that the Faceless Void just gathered right now and how that's going to influence him. Like, how is that going to give him a decision to make a choice? First of all, it doesn't seem... Actually, I don't know this because player perspective doesn't show what you click on. But from our perspective, we didn't see him click on the Ember Spirit. We see the Ember Spirit behind the tier 1 tower. We see one of our heroes kind of close to Leshrac. And we see the Witch Doctor pretty far away. And so this guy's behind the tower. If we take a look at the levels, he's level 8. He only has Treads and an Aquila. There's no creep, so he's going to tank tower. Gyro's already there. And there's 2 more TPs. And Faceless Void decides to TP. This is a huge mistake for a TP. As soon as I looked and I saw him TP, and I'm like, okay, that's a giant mistake. There's no reason for you to go bottom. Yeah, all of your team is showing up there, but that doesn't mean that you need to go. Like, this guy's gonna die, unless he does, like, some crazy ult jumps. Maybe there's a chance that he stays alive long enough that Faceless Void can get there in Chronosphere, but I just don't like this TP when there's already this teleport from Gyro and another one. There's gonna be 3 heroes on top of this guy. There's 2 heroes here. They're already diving tower. I don't even think Tusk has used his abilities yet. So Ember is about to get hit pretty hard, including with a Rocket Barrage and maybe a Call Down. And yeah, there's a Witch Doctor over here, but this isn't worth it. Like, he should have stayed in his lane. When the fight is this deep, you stay in your lane. If the fight was here, I would have TP'd. If there's 3 heroes and they're going on the Ember and the Ember's, you know, half HP and the Leshrac's right next to him and the Witch Doctor's coming, I would have TP'd. But when it's all the way under this tier 1 tower, that means that by the time he TPs, it's going to take him another like 8 seconds to get to this fight. So to be good at a ganking role or a team fight support role, like an offlaner who's like, oh, a fight's happening, I need to get there. When you look at the fight, you need to realize instantly that, is this going to be a good fight or not? And the reality is that this one doesn't look like it's going to be a good fight. Now, I might be completely wrong. Maybe they're going to outplay it, and my foot will be in my mouth. But, oh yeah, wait. Let's turn the audio back on. Already, it looks like the fight's going awful. It's at 11, I think. Alright. Leshrac is already low. Ember Spirit throws the Spirit down. TP completes. There's the Ember Spirit. He might actually stay alive.
That one hurt.
I'm fucking disgusted right now. Alright, let's go back. I want to blame this on somebody playing bad and not on my bad judgment, so let's take a look. Alright, here's the snowball.
Dire's middle tower is
Okay.
under attack.
There's the punch. Nukes him. Well, If he had called down, they would have killed him, I think. I guess that's mostly just Gyro's fault for not having mana on his ult. Alright, so I'm gonna... Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say that I was 70... Alright, I'm gonna say I was 60% wrong there. And 40% Gyro fucked up.
That one hurt.
Which I think is pretty fair. But I don't think he should have made that TP. He did end up getting a kill out of it, and it was very good for his team. But I think it was very low chances. Fight overall went very well for the Radiant team, and they're gonna end up surviving. Alright. So, and on the way home, he does a little bit of jungling, which is very good.
Dire's middle tower is
We do
under
another camp. Yep, this is all good. Last city and last city and last city.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Going to heal, maxing out his time walk now. A little overdue. Buys power treads. It's got a dust for TA, looks like, which I think is good. Again, the Gyro probably should have had at least a magic stick, especially if he's ganking. Like TPing to a lane and not having call down and rocket barrage is pretty bad. You need to make sure that doesn't happen. He definitely would have killed the Ember and probably the Leshrac as well if he got a good call down. It was a good support TP from the Gyro, but it just didn't quite work out. He also bought himself a clarity potion. I'm not quite sure about the clarity. Maybe it was purchased earlier or something, but Glyph is gone. He's late for the Chrono. Okay, this is not gonna work. And anyway, now he just dies. Okay, yeah, this is Faceless Void can't be played like this anymore. You can't play him as a solo killer. He is a stay alive and Chronosphere your opponent's hero. That is literally the point of Faceless Void here. Also, with the tower dying like that, you can't go in on. The only way that would have worked is if somebody TP'd as the tower was dying and then Faceless Void then Chronosphered them. So he needs damage to back him up. Like, for example, Leshrac and Faceless Void work really good. Not with this build because this does very little damage now, but if Leshrac like maxed out his Diabolic Edict with his Split Earth or something, if he had like 3 points in this and 2 points in this, those two could kill 2 heroes in a Chronosphere easily, as long as there was no creeps in the area tanking the Diabolic Edict. But you have to organize that stuff. If you're playing a hero like Faceless Void, you're not capable of getting solo kills if you're playing offlane. The hero just doesn't do that anymore unless you do go for a max out bash build, which is the wrong way to play him right now. The only way... Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna get solo kills. You just can't play it like that. So pretty big mistake there. You can't make deaths. You can't have deaths like this happen. Like, you should honestly be playing Faceless Void. All right, he's gonna get a double kill out of this, but he shouldn't have a double kill. I mean, I still think that was a bad call by all means. Like, OD was able to clean up and he bought time, but it was overall very negative for Faceless Void as a whole. So he goes to the mid lane to farm. This is fine. Passive farming, good stuff. Like, the reason I'm being very critical of Faceless Void dying here is because I've watched quite a few programs now in the qualifiers where Faceless Void just doesn't die. He just doesn't die anymore. Like, Faceless Void, I didn't realize my thing, this doesn't matter or anything. Faceless Void just doesn't die anymore in pro games, in a lot of cases in offlanes. Unless you have a lot of stuns, he just doesn't die. He's running across the map, no Chrono for about 40. I probably would have pushed the mid lane here. Slight mistake for him to rotate. Like, he's not going to get anything done, I don't think, other than casting that spell. I think it's going to work because TA can't meld due to the time dilation, but... Alright, that Leshrac is really bad. Alright, Time Walk finally maxed, but really it should be maxed earlier. Okay. Well, he's not dead. Bushwhacker has no ult. I feel like he keeps getting kills because his opponents are awful more than because he's making smart plays. Like, he's showing up to plays and that's good, but he's not making good decisions. Like right now, let's just look over that fight really quick. Let's see what led him to TPing. Okay, we're gonna slow this down a little bit. See what happens. All right, he instantly TPs. I gotta sneeze. He knows that his 2 heroes got reverse polarities. This is a Leshrac and a Witch Doctor. There are 2 supports on the game, and instantly he TPs. He doesn't have Chronosphere. Literally, the only thing he can do is cast Time Dilation. That's it. Super overvaluing the skill. The skill is amazing, but you can't use it for little ganks like this. It is not good like this. And because of this, if you look at his net worth, he's 4 from the bottom. He's spent way too many time going to team fights and not participating in anything. In reality, what he should have been doing is trading with the support, getting levels, and as soon as he hits 6, he organizes a gank with either his teammate or he shows up and ganks the lane. If there's none of that happening, if they just absolutely won't listen to you and come and gank, then I guess you just keep farming. That's the best thing you can do. Farm your Vlads as fast as possible. But the Iron Talon was late. He bought a TP too early. He didn't pressure the Tusk. He's gotten some kills out of his Chronospheres, but they haven't been amazing. And he's had 2 major death mistakes where he definitely shouldn't have died. So he should be sitting at 2-0 and 1 right now, and he should probably have his Vlads pretty soon without too much more farm. And he's TPing way too fast to fights. You have to look at a fight and say, am I going to be able to contribute to this? And if the reality is no, then you're messing up. So he's TPing from Fountain to the lane and instantly realizes, oh, the fight's over, I can't do anything here. So he's hiding in a good spot. I like where he's hiding. He'll be able to get experience here while waiting. But he doesn't have Chrono for 50 seconds. Like, being here is actually not helping him at all, in my opinion. Now would be really nice to be able to TP mid, maybe. But he can't do that because he was bottom. And yet he's actually running across the map from bottom to top. This is the issue right now. Is Faceless Void seeing a fight and he says, I have to be there. The reality is you don't have to be there. If you don't have Chronosphere, you're not going to do shit. What he should have done is he should have stayed bottom. And he should have contested the last hit of the tower. Or he should have stayed bottom, pulled the creeps back, so that the tower only hits Gyrocopter. That's what he should have done. Instead, he runs all the way mid, and again, he's going to get there, and what's he going to do? Absolutely nothing. He has only chanced his ability of winning the game by going mid here. All he did was endanger his life. And instead, he could have stayed bottom, gotten last hits, prevented the tower from going down. He's super overreacting to team fighting. Super overreacting to it. Says, oh, there's heroes are standing together, I better show up and fight. Glyph is used, this is too early, you want to wait until the creeps are hitting it and the heroes, that way it blocks more damage. This is a good attempt at a Chrono, but I think I agreed with your choice not to go in there. I think it was just a little bit too iffy. One of the reasons that Vlad's is fairly good on a Faceless Void is because it allows you to jungle endlessly, and it also allows you to non-stop farm because of getting lifesteal. Very nice point about it. The mana regen is not bad either. Now he should be going into farming patterns because there's some downtime. Now the tier 1 towers are also dead, which is a little bit bad because that means that him TPing and Chronosphering somewhere is going to be harder. He's also rushing Blink Dagger first, and I'm sure at this point he can see what the error in his build is that he can't just endlessly jungle this way now. He's missing a lot of HP, and that is going to mean that he just might not make it, for example. I don't know who stacked. Wow. Fight just was over. I think it seemed pretty clear that they had a ward there or something. And they RP4. I don't think this one is really Void's fault, but yeah, he was gonna die there. As soon as he time walks in, he's probably gonna die before he gets out. So Void should be doing a lot better than this. He's not playing Offlane correctly here. Going to contest Roche. He's also using Tomahawk just to cast Time Dilation. I think that's a mistake. I think it's better to tank some damage and then Time Dilate. Whatever the heck it's called. See, that's good. He wasted a Meld Strike on the TA right there because the Meld Strike went off, and then he completely counteracts the damage. That's great. He's wasting their cooldowns, he's wasting their abilities. That's how you have to use the spell. It was very dangerous to jump in instantly and cast Time Dilation. You have to, in a lot of cases, you have to walk in to start your fight. Walk in, start your fight, let them cast a spell or two on you, then you completely counteract that from doing damage to you. And then all things are good. The only way that gets really scary is if you get RP'd, because then you're going to be stunned for over 2 seconds, and you won't be able to time walk the damage back.
Dire's top
That's
tower
a
is
bit of a
under
problem.
attack.
So
Dire's middle
goes
tower
Blink Dagger
is under
here.
attack or fortified.
Again,
Dire's
Vlad's
middle
first is
tower
the
has
very, very
fallen.
common build in the Pro scene.
Dire's under attack.
Again, he sees the fight happening, he's going to be able to blink and get Chrono. Alright, this one was actually really good. Great Chrono. Counteracts the damage as well. Don't know if he's going to get this kill though. Alright, now he's going to die. Yeah. He overchased here, just didn't have enough damage.
Dire's bottom tower is under
His
attack.
Chrono, his TP there seemed very good, and his Chrono seemed good as well.
Dire's bottom
And
tower
now he's
is
going
under
back for
attack.
the Vlads, it seems. Bring Basilius first. Alright, that should be a dead TA. Time dilation is actually really, really good against TA. Since her abilities are fairly low cooldown, Refraction is 17 seconds and Meld is like 8 seconds. Oh, now he doesn't have mana. He could Shred Switch though. Shred Switch in and then Chrono. He should be on Agility right here too. Shred Switching is really important on Faceless Void, especially now that he has more spells to cast. If you're attacking, you should be on Agi. If you are tanking, or a little worried about just dying instantly, then Strength. And then if you're attacking and there's no chance you die, you should definitely be on Agility. The 8 damage increase is a big difference, and the 8 attack speed gives you a slightly higher chance to bash. I don't like going up there that much. I think it's a bit of a waste. He could have stayed over there, I feel. Really showing the power of Tusk, basically. So, taking a fight here is going to kind of require the Ember Spirit to be in the area. I think that'll make a really big difference.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's just waiting to see if they group, which is all good.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top
No
tower
glyph.
is under
Oh,
attack.
glyph just used late. That sucks.
Radiant structures are fortified.
If you're gonna not initiate though, I think you need to go do something else. Rather than standing there looking for a Chrono opportunity, Faceless Void could have gone to the jungle instead. I think that would have done a lot. Odie gets another kill. And again, there was a bit of a fight, so now he's running across the map. He could have farmed an entire jungle camp or two in the meantime, rather than running across the map just now. He would have 150, 200 more gold. He would have almost level 14. Way too much downtime here. Way too much running across the map to get somewhere.
Dire's
When it's
top
not for a
tower
good
is
reason.
under attack. Structures are fortified. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Going to the bot lane to push. This is good because it's going to put pressure on the tier 1 tower and you might get gold out of it. I would farm the small camp right now and then the medium camp, neither of which he's doing. He's running all the way back to base buying his Vlad's items, but he could have been farming this whole time. He's literally running across the whole map to get a TP scroll. Huge mistake. Again, he's underfarmed and underleveled because of this. I would have been farming the jungle this whole time. That's literally why you buy the Vlads. That whenever you're on cooldown for Chronosphere or whenever there's downtime, you're just farming. Just constantly farming. Let's check the timer. Okay, he just started farming this at 3:20, 30:20. Let's find out when was the last time he farmed. Okay. Got a last hit over here at 29:15. So for 1 entire minute, he spent it walking across the entire map and buying items. You can buy items while you're attacking creeps, while you're walking to attack creeps, and you can use the courier to bring yourself the items. He also, you could argue, he also went to the fountain for some regen, but he could have had that if he just had a Vlad's, for example. So he wasted an entire minute of his hour-ish game walking and getting nothing other than passive gold regen. Or passive gold gain. Very, very inefficient play by doing that. Instead, what he should have done is upon leaving the Magnus on the bot lane, he walks to this camp and farms it. And then he walks to this camp and farms it. Then he walks to this camp and farms it. And then he walks to this camp and farms it. And then he goes back to base. And you're like, wow, while I was walking somewhere, I spent time farming. And that got me items. And therefore, the walking I did wasn't completely wasted. It didn't just do nothing. I got items along the way. And that's a very, very important thing to do when you're trying to play a carry or an offlaner. Luckily, Faceless Void's a good example because he's an offlaner that can farm and will farm. It doesn't necessarily translate into damage items, but can and should farm. So he spent a whole 1 minute walking to this large camp to kill it, when he could have killed any of these camps in his jungle on the way here. Oops, I want a plus symbol. So eventually kills the large camp, all that good stuff. Oh hey, found a hero. I think he should just chrono that actually. He definitely should have chronoed that. It reveals invisible heroes. And then the OD just could have wailed on him, and together they would have killed him. That was a very easy kill. I don't know if you realize that Chronosphere shows invis people though. And again, he's almost got Vlads. What's he doing right now? Okay, so whatever. We'll ignore that kill. He comes this lane, wants OD to get the farm. That's fine, but starting right now, what's he doing? Walking down. He's walking into his base to get his headdress of rejuvenation. And then he changes his mind and walks somewhere else. He wasted at least 5 seconds just now being unsure what to do by walking this way. Instead, he could have walked here faster. He could be right here getting a last hit. He could be right here setting up for Chronosphere. He could have been walking into the jungle right now if these guys weren't pushing mid to get farmed. Every move you make is important in Dota. The amount of time you spend walking to places is part of the reason that you miss opportunities for kills, or because you farm less. It's because you're wasting less time moving. All that stuff is super important, and this is a 4K player, guys. Like, it seems like he knows how to execute his skills well, but he doesn't always know when to get the most value out of them. Alright, this is looking like a pretty good fight. Yeah, he needs to get out. It's too bad he only caught 2 heroes in the chrono instead of 4. It was looking like a very good ulti.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, that was good.
Dire's bottom tower.
Fairly good fight. Vlad's is up, but honestly, he should have on Eggs by now. He can have Blink, and Vlad's probably by about 20 minutes, I think. And then the Eggs should come shortly after if your team is winning. I know the game is kind of even, but he would be doing better if he hadn't died 4 times, for example. Like, you're just supposed to constantly be farming on this here and prepping for the next team fight. Alright, where does he go now? Let's see what he does. I would have maybe ran to this camp to farm it. He does go straight to farming. Let's see what camp he goes next. He goes next small camp. Good. Unfortunately, him and the Ember are basically farming the same things right now, so it's a little inefficient. He's actually running all the way back to base to get his Vlads, which is, again, a little inefficient. And I'll give him some credit because the Ember was farming the same path as him. So he's going to go to the large camp and farm that. Oh, he gets his point booster. He should have farmed the large camp. Large camp should be dead, and then I would have moved to the top lane and farmed this camp, and then I moved over here and killed this camp. Like, right now, by the time he walked up here, he would have this large camp killed, and he would probably be moving to right here. He would have level 16, he would have another 200 gold or 150 gold, and he'd be starting on his next position. Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten the haste rune, but he would have been faster to getting farmed. You need to plan ahead your actions a little bit before you do them. I like that he is farming aggressively, though. This is very good. It's something that a lot of heroes can do and don't do enough.
Bottom tower is under attack.
At least in pubs, that is. And I would not escape right now. I would go back and farm these again, personally. But I kind of like to farm these camps and play a little aggressively in that. He also TP'd back to base, which I think was fine. He pushed the lane a little bit. Now he's running to the bot lane. I guess to go push the lane out or something, but I would have preferred that he went to the top lane, personally, because I mean, I guess both Ember and him can farm it aggressively. That's another thing to keep in mind. But when it is okay to do aggressive farming, it's when your hero is not likely to get solo killed by like a carry. If you're playing like, I don't know, Anti-Mage, or sorry, Ancient Apparition or Crystal Maiden, and the enemy team is a Slark with a Shadow Blade, yeah, farming aggressively is really dangerous, because Slark can just find you and kill you. But if you're playing Faceless Void, and they have almost no stuns, and you've got a Blink Dagger, and you've got a Chronosphere if things get really bad, it's okay to farm aggressively. It creates space, actually, because it forces them to rotate to kill you. If they rotate to kill you, and you get out, you waste a ton of people's time, and that buys the rest of your team time to farm, which they should be doing efficiently. So that's another thing. Like, if you're playing Faceless Void, you can farm aggressively. You should be able to get away with that. So he's finishing his ags now. I think I'm going to stop the replay here because the main aspects of playing offlane and playing Faceless Void have already been demonstrated. He needed, to start the laning stage, if you're playing Faceless Void, you need to trade with the solo support more if there's only one, especially when it's a Tusk, and you have a armor and stout shield advantage. Trade more often, try to force mistakes, get a bash level so you can trade a bit better, since you're not likely to die to a gyrocopter. Pressure the lane, try to kill him. If you kill him, try to pressure the gyro later, try to kill him. Once you hit 6, either rotate to gank or ask somebody to come gank on your lane, such as the Ember Spirit, the OD, the Leshrac. Any of them could just TP to the tier 2 tower, walk up, you Chronosphere, you hit somebody for 4 seconds, they probably die. Most heroes die at that stage. That would have been very good. Don't TP to team fights where you're not going to make a contribution. Yes, he got some contribution, but most of those TPs were really bad. He should have stayed in his lane. And even if he did get a kill, he very likely could have gotten more experience and more gold by staying in his lane and keeping his team spread across the map efficiently. After that, he needed to go Vlad's before Blink Dagger due to needing the regen. He should have, again, continued to farm due to having the Vlad's and the Iron Talon, which means you never have to stop farming due to having lifesteal. And you also then contribute to your team's damage output with the Vlad's Aura and their lifesteal, which is very nice. And then after that stage, we are talking about the aspect of just farming patterns and wasting less time walking around the map. You need to go from camp to camp to camp, walk efficiently. If you're playing an offlane here, you're either looking for kills, or when you're not able to look for kills, aka when your abilities are on cooldown, then you instead are farming and doing nothing else, or looking for ganks. That is how you should be spending your time. If you want to farm while you're looking for ganks, the best way to do that is to farm these 2 camps usually. Push your lane out, farm these 2 camps, wait for somebody to show up in lane here, and then you jump in and kill them with help from an ally who's been hiding in the jungle the whole time. So that's another thing you can do. Rather than just AFK farming all game and waiting for somebody else to start the team fight, you can farm, and then when you see somebody that has a potential kill opportunity, then you go for it. So hope you guys learned a lot. That's basically playing almost any farm, semi-heavy offlane hero who's on a long cooldown. Faceless Void is very easy mode right now. I think you guys should try playing him out. You just have to learn how to leverage Time Walk to waste their spells and then heal you back up afterwards. It's a the interaction between these 2 skills, if you use them correctly, is amazing. Force their abilities out, and then prevent them from coming off of cooldown for 12 seconds. That's the value in Faceless Void outside of Chronosphere. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned a lot. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.